say. Seas of streaming and reviewing mods and video games. They search the land in 7 seasons, centuries have passed. Until the day a hero named Mariner famous as. Deep dark gaming, we love to play video games. We're playing until the early morning. Deep dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, we sell the games and more. As Mariner set off on his quest, he knew he needed a crew. The navigator joined the ranks and so did Mr. Q. Sailing for adventure, stories and for treasure. We will help you through, so climb aboard and join the crew. Deep dark gaming, we love to play video games. We'll keep playing until the early morning. Deep dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, we sell the games and more.
Ahoy, divers, and welcome back to Deep Dive Gaming. I am the Mariner, and we are back for the stream of consciousness with special guest Tyrundeth. Ahoy, Tyrundeth.
Hello.
And also joining us, as usual, is Hiro. Hi, Hiro.
Hello.
And as you may have judged by the title, we are doing a true deep dive gaming stream of consciousness about probably the longest running gaming franchise that I'm aware of, Final Fantasy. Anyways, ahoy Twitch, ahoy YouTube, ahoy Mojo, and Foxy, and ahoy Mariner Kitty, who decided to scrub it off before I started the stream, so no audio from her quite yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up this Final Fantasy playthrough here on YouTube for us as a backdrop versus me playing a game that would get us ultimately distracted. And we can open the floor up. So, first off, Tyrundeth, do you want to give us kind of a brief summary as to how Final Fantasy got started?
Well, most people know that Squaresoft, or actually Square Enix now, but Squaresoft then made the game. Now, what most people don't know is why the name is what it is, the Final Fantasy. The game itself was actually designed as a last-ditch effort. Squaresoft was going under. They took all their remaining resources and dropped it on this one project. And believing that it was going to be the end, and it was a fantasy game, or set in a fantasy world, they named it Final Fantasy because it was supposed to be their final project that they did. Come to find out that this particular game would be the start of their empire.
Sorry.
No worry. And this particular game, made in 1987, was effectively the pinnacle of RPG and major start to getting them successful in a video gaming setting. And I cannot verify this one, but I would not doubt that they pulled a lot of gamers from the D&D tabletop setting to play this. There would be no doubt in my mind that they managed that.
Did you hear me?
Or to somebody.
Oh, did you put my words in? Sorry. Low Red says hi.
I read. Oh wow, lots of links there, Mojo.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that this particular game ended up selling, or I should say, by March of '03, so 21 years ago, had sold a combined 2 million copies in its lifetime. Now, I get that that's not the absolute highest amount, which I believe COD currently holds. However, for a game that old on or with this kind of 8-bit graphics, that's huge.
It is.
And now I will admit I didn't get to play this particular one. It was actually out of my purview by the time I knew about it. I mean, I started with the Atari gaming. Now, mind you, that system is older than I am,
I think the Atari is
or at least
older
as
than
old.
most of us. It's definitely older than one specific person in the room who we will not mention, whose name is Hiro.
Now he's only a little younger than me.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah.
I retract my previous statement. All I know is I was alive for Atari. I actually had one.
And I've played Ataris in the past when I was really young.
I would venture to say that makes you, sir, the senior member of this particular trio.
Mo just said she's gonna leave now because she's too old. I would beg to
Excellent
differ,
evil
but
laugh.
hey.
Excellent.
As far as I know, that is the original gameplay of Final Fantasy.
Yep.
The original.
I called it up and put it on the info desk just for that reason.
That is correct. I do remember a little bit of this game. I think I also played it was probably considered a re-release. I did play a version of Final Fantasy on my NES little combo box that I got some time ago.
Right, this was on the NES, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it was this one or if it was Final Fantasy 3.
No, it actually looking it up, this does say Nintendo Entertainment System. For you kids, no, that's not the blasted Wii.
I think nothing made people's eyes roll harder than the whole phrase "we would like to play."
Oh God.
Oh God.
So, since we've kind of encompassed the origin of the words are hard. The Final Fantasy. You have a bit of synopsis on the plot of said game? Apparently, our vocal output is a little low.
Well, Foxy needs to turn up her TV because we're right at the yellow.
Oh, well, in that case, I do remember this. Yep. Yep, this is definitely the original. I do remember this gameplay from the NES, and I will also openly say that this game was also definitely difficult when considering the initial encounters through RNGs end up being very brutal if you're not careful.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people I used to know that would rage quit repeatedly before getting through even the first bit of story. It it had this is, if I remember correctly, this was one of the first ones that actually had a um rock paper scissors style element table.
Oh,
Rock, paper, scissors style element table? What does that mean?
Um, for example, a lot of um game or well, actually, to quote another series, Pokemon has one of the most notables for rock paper scissors. How one element is stronger than, or element A stronger
Oh,
than
that.
element B,
Okay.
stronger than element C, weaker than element A.
Ahoy Smasher, by the way. Answering the question late, but that's okay. I think I understand now. Forgive my ignorance. I'm new to the discussion of gaming and gaming stuff. It's kind of the reason why I started the stream of consciousness, was so that I could learn from those who know about gaming so that I can have these more competent conversations on my own later on.
Yeah, nobody starts off an expert.
I want to start off
certainly
an
not.
expert. It saves time.
It takes a lot of reading. A lot of reading.
Wow. Well, maybe I don't want to be an expert that bad.
The secondary option for expertise is practical experience.
Which is also
Depending on
why
the task.
which is why I've streamed now, because it gives me the excuse to sit and actually concentrate on a game and learn how to play when I'm not fully obsessed
Video, yep.
with a different game.
Video gaming is one of the safer ways to accrue practical experience.
And learn problem
Don't go
solving
into
skills.
war.
Huh?
Don't go to war and expect to acquire quick and easy practical experience.
Of course, don't forget though that
Ambush.
war never changes. So it's easy to become an expert in war because it's always the same. Anyways, moving on. My
We'll go
Fallout
with
4
that,
reference joke fell flat.
Unfortunately, I know that is one series I know nothing of.
That's okay. Mojo and I, and maybe even Hiro, have enough to cover you.
Which one? I think I missed you. What the game you mentioned?
Fallout.
Oh, yes, Fallout.
I know nothing of that particular
We may have to do
series.
we may have to do a deep dive later, me and Mojo, on Fallout. Because between the knowledge I've gained through watching channels like Oxhorn and her just playing the game for thousands and thousands of hours, we could probably cover enough.
That would be practical experience in a particular subject, yes. But yeah, I don't remember if this one was the rock paper scissors or if they introduced that in Final Fantasy II. But I want to say it was this one.
It would make sense. It also probably had, well, Final Fantasy as a whole's probably had some of the most complex, like, spell tables and skill tables and stuff like that over the years. Even this one, I think, with the way I think you could even adjust your job classes for each character as well in this one.
I believe you could, yes. This one also, if I remember correctly, was the real starter for TBC, turn-based combat.
Uh, that I could not verify. There's quite a few early games that had a lot of turn-based in it.
Actually, you know what?
So
You're right. That belongs to, if I remember correctly, Dragon Wars, which was a PC DOS release, possibly before that. But this one popularized it.
for sure.
They took a concept that they thought would work and, as stated before, made an empire. That has extended. God, it's almost 40 years of an empire now in
Pretty close too.
roleplay. They've touched into Disney, Marvel. Some of them have even touched on concepts from DC. There are they have touched into artwork and concepts from Akira Toriyama.
Well,
May he rest in peace.
yeah. Although, if you want to get down to it, don't forget Akira Toriyama was was part of the dev team for Dragon Quest, and if you want to get down to it, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy have had something of a relationship over the years.
I thought you were gonna say
Yeah, I
rivalry for a
believe they
second.
have. It that would probably play a part in it, yes. Another one, another well-known author, and I can't think of his name right now. He passed in 22. Another rather well-known, very influential mangaka or mangaki. I can never remember how that one is said or
Mangaka.
spelled. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
No, you're fine.
He penned Berserk.
Yes, I can't remember his name offhand either, but
When he passed is actually when I got my Chocobo in 14, and it's named after him.
Kentaro Miura.
I don't remember if they put the Dark Knight in this particular game,
I don't
but
think the Dark
that
Knight
one.
came along until a lot longer. Or yeah.
Okay. But yeah, the Dark Knight was based a lot on his artwork and storyline. Especially later on in the series. Now, this one in particular, like I said, I don't know much of, but that's because I never actually got the chance to really dive into this one. Would I now? Certainly, especially if they put it on mobile, which I think they may have. I think 1 through 3 are on mobile. Now, I don't remember the veracity of this one, but supposedly Final Fantasy 1 through 3 had their numbers switched when they came to the US. And I can't seem to find it. and actually looking it up a little bit on a couple of well-known sites, it actually says that this series, when it started out, was based very heavily on a very well-known tabletop game,
Hmm.
as well as a RPG called Wizardry.
According to Smasher, 2 is 4, 3 is 6.
Oh.
Also, Mojo is into your NPR voice, Tyrundeth.
You'll have to you'll have to excuse me for not knowing that particular.
National Public
Um,
Radio.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It's the joke that Chieftain says a lot.
Okay.
And Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 2, and Final Fantasy 3 are all available, and Final Fantasy 4, and Final Fantasy 5, and Final Fantasy 6, even Final Fantasy 7, the OG, are all available on mobile phones.
Seriously?
Really?
Sweet.
Even Final Fantasy 8 is.
Well, Tyrundeth, say
Seriously? You're
goodbye to
kidding.
your
9.
say goodbye to your battery
Scrolling
life.
through the list. Yep, 10.
Yeah, no shit. I gotta do something while I'm sitting on my butt at the shack at work.
So all the way up through 10 are all available on iOS and Android.
The OG version for
And-
10, I imagine.
Yep.
Since I doubt the remaster would fit. I don't might with phones
Probably
being where
not.
they are, but yeah.
Let's see here. That's right. The Red Mage. Yeah.
Apparently Final Fantasy 13 released on iOS and Android in 2015.
Seriously.
Yes. Yep. So there you go. And let me see. Yeah, no, that's basically 9, 10, and I don't know about 12. Nope, not on 12, but everything up through Final Fantasy 10 and then 13, not including 11 and 12, obviously, because 11 was online exclusive on PlayStation 2, and 12, I don't know why, but 13, they're all on iOS and Android. That's insane. Anyways, so do you have any plot synopsis perchance, or are you still unsure of how to present it?
The only one I have is basically what's up on Wiki, and I really hate using that crap.
Can't blame you, but we're here for it.
But obviously, this takes place in a in a fantasy world, 3 continents. You had to do something about, or I forget exactly what, but it was a state of 4 different crystals, each governing one of the classical elements: earth, fire, water, and wind. They had races including elves, dwarves, dragons, mermaids, humans, and robots, apparently. It says most of the non-human races have only one town, quote unquote, in the game. Individuals can be found roaming other towns, but each one only had its main dedicated town. You are sent by a sage, tells of a prophecy of 4 warriors of light who will come save the world in a time of darkness. And that's just about how every single RPG since then has started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking bonkers. How many? It starts. You're a warrior of light. You're an or you don't know what you are. But there's a prophecy about a warrior of light, or you start in a tavern, and somebody storms in and creates havoc.
Sounds like Chieftain on a Friday night.
Yeah, that'd do it. This also had the first reference to the evil knight Garland, which will be brought up again almost in every single sequel at some point, or at least most of them. Warriors embark on a chain of delivery quests, amongst other things. That's not typical for Final Fantasy at all. They definitely didn't get their start there with it. I have no idea why that might be a shocker. Let's see here. Oh, Blind Witch Matoya. That's another one that rings a bell recently. In exchange for an herb needed to awaken the elf prince first by Astos. Yeah, you have to search out a bunch of crystals, including an eye, which you take to yet another quest. And actually, you take that to Matoya, and she's the one that gives you the herb needed to awaken the cursed prince. Warriors of Light, or the prince gives the Warriors of Light the Mystic Key, which is apparently capable of unlocking any door in the game. The key unlocks a storage room in Corneria Castle, which holds TNT.
Yeah. In a fantasy setting.
Oh yeah, real banger.
In it though?
One of the dwarves destroys the small isthmus using the TNT, connecting the Aldi Sea to the outside world. After visiting near ruined towns, the warriors go to the Earth Castle, defeat a vampire, retrieve the Star Ruby. You notice there's a lot of gems and crystals and everything in this that don't know why. Can't imagine.
No, not at all. Every Final Fantasy game has references to these things, or has some form of them.
I mean,
Can't
Crystal
tell why.
Chronicles. And to quote a very, very overdone series, later games, or this series at a given point begins to, and I quote, insist upon itself.
What does
However,
that even
that
mean?
does not. It's basically it's the fact that it's referencing itself and consistently bringing up small tidbits that you won't catch if you don't play the prior games.
They have a word for that, or a
Uh,
term for that. It's called Easter eggs.
yeah, yeah. Um, I was making a not a Final Fantasy. Yes, it was obviously a Final Fantasy joke, but I was also including Family Guy in there.
Oh.
Um, let's see here. At a given point, you cross over with the King of Dragons, Bahamut.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do have a few of those. Notably Bahamut, um, which is one of the original gods of the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons.
Proof.
Um, you also cross Tiamat, again, another D&D reference. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of this plot that got recycled into Final Fantasy XIV. Let's see here. Temple, or you go into a portal, the Temple of the Fiends, takes them about 2,000 years into the past to confront the creator of the Fiends. Warriors discovered that the four fiends sent Garland, now the archdemon Chaos, back in time, and he sent the fiends to the future to do so, creating a time loop by which he could live forever. The Warriors of Light defeat Chaos, thus ending the loop, and return to present, but their heroic deeds remain unknown outside of legend. So basically, you start off unknown, you end unknown. No, not quite, but it was more Final Fantasy 1 was reused in Final Fantasy 14, which is the second or third Final Fantasy MMO.
So 11 was the first MMO for Final Fantasy, and 14 is the second.
Okay.
I hear the 11 servers still are kind of sort of twitching out there somewhere.
Yeah, I believe they are. As a matter of fact, I still have my Final Fantasy 11 hard drive for my PS2 that I bought brand new. Yeah, I just aged myself again.
We're not exactly shy about revealing how old we are, especially those of us who are under 40.
12.
Let me
Well,
see.
well,
12.
what happened to 12?
Didn't get a lot of attention. I don't think it was very well received, to be honest.
I remember playing it, but that's about it. Really, Mojo? Had no idea.
What is the 84 in reference to? I'm kind of gotten lost.
Yeah, I kind of got lost too, because I know damn well that's not how old she is. 12 was first released on PlayStation 2, not PlayStation.
Yes.
You're not 84, Mojo. Come on, be serious here.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I would
You're-
only
Oh,
believe
wait.
that if one of them.
No, that's not possible because you're supposedly older than I am, Mojo. I just aged myself.
I was gonna say, there's no way I would believe that she's 84, considering that
Right, but no, she's
I'm
corrected.
pretty
She's
sure
claiming
she's
84 is year of birth, and I'm still like,
oh
uh,
yeah.
Smasher
I was gonna
might be.
say,
I don't know.
if she claimed that she was 84, I would have a hard time believing it, because that would mean that she would have one of her mini mojos would be as old as me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be a little hard for Mojo to really smash.
why not both, Mojo?
Probably both.
Are you hinting that your doctor is a demon?
Womp womp.
Oh, bicentennial. Okay.
That's okay.
Yep.
So you got 8 years on me. Gotcha.
Let's not try to guess. It's
This is
rude.
not a competition either.
No, no.
Stay on topic.
Math is nothing.
Yeah. It's time for the old joke.
What up,
Stay on
Penguin?
topic. Penguin! Ahoy hoy.
Hey, penguin.
See if I can start something here.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure
As
you
long
can
as you're-
start something, but
As long as you're
whether or not
prepared to
you
finish it. Ooh, ow. That hurt.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I just, for some reason, the alerts are really loud.
Well, you are the one in control of them, sir.
I really am not, because Twitch has its own settings that are behind some form of shield. Ooh, hype train. Woot woot. Like I'd have to download the desktop audio or turn down the desktop audio to quiet it, and then I'd need to speak up and turn everybody else up in the chat. So I will suffer. It's not that loud. It just took me by surprise.
Oh yeah.
So
At some point,
Twitch
I'll have
has
At some point, I'm gonna have to get a mixer, I think, or I'm gonna have to not use desktop audio as my audio source for the stream or for the games on this, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not succeeding, but that's what I'm trying to say.
You do know you can set it up per application or game, right?
I am aware. I just am lazy and have not gotten around to doing that yet because I haven't really had a real need. Of course, with Penguin and Smasher in the chat throwing bits at me, it might become a need very quickly. Thank you, by the way, for all those bits, Tyrundeth and Hiro and Penguin. Remember, Hiro, this is not lagging out. You don't get a refund on your bits.
I don't get a refund anyways.
Woohoo! And some gifted subs from
thank you for that
Penguin. Wow, Tyrundeth, you're finally subbed to my channel.
It's not for lack of trying, sir, I promise.
Ah. Y'all know I kid. It's the only platform where I can tease and not feel guilty about it. Because no one takes me seriously, at least when it comes to teasing, because I have a very light hand.
Oh,
And don't
I get
giggity that. Don't go into that with the giggity.
Don't.
It's not what that's meant.
I get brutal.
Yeah.
There are times where people have asked me if I was being serious or not.
Are you being serial right now?
Cheerio.
Woo.
Anyways,
Anyway, yes,
So,
back to Final
this
Fantasy.
this plot, the generic plot slash legend that or prophecy that kind of runs this particular game. Thank you, Penguin. The theme that runs through the generic plot line of this game does seem to be recycled a bit across the Final Fantasy series, because the concept of elemental crystals seems to, well, permeate every set of games. I think there was in Crystal Chronicles, I think there was something to do with elemental gems or elemental crystals. Obviously, Final Fantasy. I'm not sure about 2 and 3.
Yep, as far as I know.
And more specifically, most recently, 16 had gigantic crystals, which were the source of magic in that world.
14 has a lot of that too.
And I am not surprised by any stretch of the imagination on that. But then again, at the risk of tipping our hand early, 14 seemed to encompass a lot of concepts within the series and kind of flesh out the lore of Final Fantasy as a whole.
The canonical 2 and 3, sir. Or, ma'am. Smash. Sorry. So I think one of the things we're going to have to work to figure out is how we want to work this. When we talk, or when we say Final Fantasy 1, 2, or 3, or etc., are we talking actual release, as in Japanese release, or as they hit the outside markets? Because, as pointed out by Smash earlier, and myself and Hiro, they did swap some of the numbers.
Well, I would say I would go with the canonical 1, 2, and 3.
Agreed. Why
being,
not? Why
being
why
the-
ignore? Why be accused of ignoring Japan when they gave us Final Fantasy?
Exactly. I only make or want to set that now so that we have a basis to work on, and we're not confusing ourselves and our viewers here.
So, I would say absolutely we should talk about the canonical 1, 2, and 3 when we reference 1, 2, and 3 as they were released in Japan, because we can't. Well, if I'm just gonna be blunt with it. America as a market wasn't opened up to Japan in the way it is now, because of the concept of embargoes and taxes and trade rules, and for whatever
And the power of
reason,
1,000 suns.
yeah, we can't fault the way the world governments flowed with trade, because they were ignorant, and ignorant politicians are.
That hasn't changed in
Ever?
40 years.
Actually, it hasn't changed
Well-
in 400, 4,000 years. Pick a number.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Pick number. You're still right.
Yep.
Indeed.
Smasher said we just need to make sure we know which, because most Americans don't know the Japanese ones that wheel, and then she trails off. But I'm imagining we are not most Americans on this channel, and being gamers or gamers in trading, we want to learn the correct and proper order of Final Fantasy games.
So, as far
Deep
as
dive
the
gaming.
actual storyline would concern, if the Stream of Consciousness continues on with the canonical numbers. As far as what you know, Mojo, for Final Fantasy, the next one would be number 4 in American release. But going to the Japanese, that is actually number 2.
Thought for half a second you were going to throw down what the Japanese word for 2 is, because I thought
I don't.
I thought that would have been really cool if you happen to
Me.
know that.
Me. And I.
Oh.
Ni?
Oh, right. Ichi ni san.
Okay, right. I knew that somewhere in
Yep.
the back of my brain. Not as in the knights who go ni. That's a different thing. That's a different country entirely.
Equally as funny.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one too. The trying to actually get the stories or believing, that there was an actual overarching plot between the games, because, it's Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3.
When is the Final Fantasy? Jeez.
When they stop putting them out.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, why
So
do they
it
call it
seems-
Final Fantasy when there's been like 12? I think I remember asking that question when I was younger.
Yep,
And
and we did just answer that, by the way.
Yep, it was the actual reason was because the original game.
You're a good
Was-
gamer, Mojo. You're probably a better gamer than I am. Of course, we've already established that's not saying much.
In some cases, I would say you're probably better than I am.
It's all about the genre. What's your preferred genre? And that was a conversation. No, just in general.
Art?
It's like it
Oh,
depends
yeah.
on the term gamer. You are a gamer if you're a master of your chosen genre, or not even necessarily a master, but at least a fan of your chosen genre. You don't have to be a fan of all of them or an expert in all of them, because everybody knows I'm hardly an expert in any of them. But I have my preferred.
Oh, let's get right down to it, and this is probably going to put me or label me as a snob. Video games are an art form.
Agreed.
Honestly,
they-
it doesn't make you a snob, in my opinion.
Actually, they were before the current generation of game devs came around.
Yeah,
That's fair.
very fair.
AAA gaming has kind of, with some very few notable exceptions, has pretty well gone down the.
They've all been demoted to AA games.
Right?
I would say that's high praise still.
Well, they don't make
Perhaps.
Duracell doesn't make a single A, so we have to stop somewhere. Unless you're Ubisoft, Mojo, in which case you're quadruple A.
Oh God.
In truth, if you were to label your own game that you produced a quadruple A game, it just automatically means you're gonna fail.
Yep, that is
Pretty
what you
much.
call writing on the wall.
I mean, I would. For what we used to know as AAA gaming, the only game I have seen that came out with a worthy AAA rating would be Baldur's Gate 3.
You're not counting Black Myth Wukong in there?
I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Ah,
I was gonna say that kind of requires requires a frame of reference. Although I've heard very high praise, and I do intend to pick it up and play it at some point soon.
nice.
I eventually I will get to it. It's just it's in the wish list. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I know. For me, I have to let some of the more complex games I have to let age before I'll start playing them for two reasons. One, system may not be able to run it, which this day and age isn't a concern. But two, other experienced players play it, make the guides for me so that I don't have to struggle learning how to do things in the game or struggle when I get stuck on story aspects of the game trying to find solutions. That's why I play old games. One of the many reasons I play old games. Hashtag play old games.
The other reason would probably be that if we tried to play all games when they're new, we'd all be broke.
Yeah, that's another one. But I'm gonna say this now: retro game, best game.
Yes. And it doesn't. And retro these days, you don't have to go that far back. You don't have to go all the way back to the 80s or 90s. You can go back to the 90s, and there's some nice games.
In truth, it's not that you don't have to go that far back to get retro. You still have to go the same amount of time back to get to retro. It's just where that same amount of time back is different now.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm going to burn you right there, Hiro. I was listening to the radio the other day, and they said we're about to play some classic rock.
Yeah.
Do you know what they put on?
Nickelback.
No.
Which is probably just as bad.
No. The first thing I hear is a very specific riff, starting with a semi-Japanese sounding theme to it.
I know this too. And which was that?
10,000 Fists.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
By Disturbed. Was labeled classic rock.
Oh, man.
Yep.
And I had to
That's the
pull
ultimate
off the road.
wah.
I had to pull off the road because that one hurt.
Yeah, I know. When I hear some people talk about classic rock, and I hear them say something like Disturbed, Linkin Park, friggin' Three Doors Down, yeah, that I've heard people calling that classic rock, and I'm like, no. Classic rock is. I straight up, when somebody said that, I'm like, no. Classic rock is like Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, and dude, that's classical. No, shut up.
Now, you want to hear a little bit more pain? Okay. In the end, actually, when I first saw it, was one of my favorite AMVs, anime music videos. In this particular case, it was done for Final Fantasy X. Now, I ran across a cover of it by the group known as Smash Into Pieces. It's good. Yeah, they definitely did it justice. However, the pain came when I ran into a review of it with one sentence. This is a very well done update of an old style classic.
Ooh. The burn. The burn.
The pain.
Yes.
And I just
Hey, that's the very first time that you get to see a mind flare in a Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
It's also it's also the very first version of a mimic.
Yeah. Yeah.
gotta say, fighting the Mind Flayer in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was painful.
Yeah, I don't remember that one being so bad in the original.
They did the Mind Flayer in Final Fantasy VII?
I'm pretty sure they did. It's an iconic Final Fantasy antagonist.
Well,
As
gang.
is Tonberry.
Well, yes, Tomberry. Those things, I hated them so much.
Okay. Well, since we're coming up on the end, and it seems like we've provided all the meaningful information we're gonna provide tonight, I think it's time to wrap it up. So let's get some final shout outs out the way. Mojo, if you could drop links down there for Lagging Out and for Tyrundeth, I'd appreciate it. Tyrundeth, what are you playing currently on your channel?
Lately I've been doing my own theory craft on Diablo 4 with the new class, the Spiritborn.
Ooh, cool. Hiro, we need to meet tomorrow night to discuss topics for the Lagging Out Live, but we can talk about the time for that later.
I will be starting my travel on Wednesday evening, so
Okay.
perhaps I can supplement by sending things that I find over the course of the day before I leave.
Okay.
We should discuss that more offline, though.
Yep. Do you want to mention anything about the Lagging Out Live or anything else about Lagging Out Entertainment?
Check out our newly born website, crafted
thank
by
you.
the one and only Deep Dive Gaming / The Mariner.
I didn't want to self-plug on that one, so thank you.
He's got he's got quite the amount of patience, more so than me. I would probably rage quit 7 dozen times. So that much I can say. We have articles. We have art done by our fans submitted to us in our Discord. We have also recaps of our podcasts and other various links to our videos on Lagging Out on this same webpage. So come visit us and check it out.
Indeed. And in the meantime, on Deep Dive Gaming, tomorrow night I will be returning to Starfield Shattered Space. And don't worry, Hiro, I haven't forgotten about doing a review. It's gonna be a doozy. I'm just waiting until I get through the content before I start writing, because who knows, there may be something worth talking about in the later parts that I don't want to miss. So,
Indeed.
I hope you got your duct tape and epoxy to fix it.
It's gonna need more than duct tape and epoxy, sir. It's gonna need a full meltdown in Reforge.
Oh, they shattered it that bad.
Yes. But again, stay tuned for my review. Anyone who's been watching my stream has kind of been getting a running commentary on my impressions of the game of the DLC as I play. Also watchable on YouTube. I have a playlist for that if you want to get caught up. But yes.
I'll have to check that out.
In the meantime, let me finish what I'm working on here. Oops. Be sure to check out. So, let's see, what else? Oh, yes, thank you. So, thank you, Tyrundeth, for coming. Hopefully, we'll see you next week for part 2 of our Final Fantasy deep dive.
I don't see a reason to say no.
Awesome. And then hopefully we'll probably go on to the next game in the canonical. Thank you, canonical order. So be sure everybody to tune in for that next Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern time. Thank you, Hiro, again as always.
Of course.
Thank you, Mojo, for being an awesome moderator as usual. Thank you, everyone else, for coming and watching. Until next time, enjoy Final Fantasy. Fair winds and fun gaming, y'all. Bye-bye.
a great night.